Hey everyone, Jeff Rolfin with Everything Boston Whaler. So this afternoon I'm going to take you guys through the 220 and 250 Dauntless, which are the two new models that have just been released. The Dauntless models are really Whaler's bay boat, but selling them as a bay boat kind of really does sell them short. They're a great cross utility boat that is a center console for fishing, but has tremendous features for both fishing and family. So I'm going to take you through the two boats and take you on another one-take walkthrough of both the 220 and 250 Dauntless. So right now we're looking at the 220 Dauntless. Behind it is the 250 Dauntless. The 220 Dauntless right now is being powered with the V8 250 Verado, and then we have the 300 over on the 250 Dauntless. When you look at both of these new boats, they look like mini outrages. One thing that you notice is kind of the profile line. So they've done the shear line with the broken shear line at the transom. And they've also raised the gunnels up 2 inches, which really gives the boat a lot more profile, and it kind of brings up the freeboard quite a bit. When you're on the boat, it's tremendously different. That freeboard feels like 6 inches versus 2 inches. So we're going to take you on a walkthrough of both of these boats, and we'll start with the 22 Dauntless. So there's a few things that you'll notice that are slightly different between these two models, but one of the more interesting things that is shared between both of them is the helm station. So on the 22 and the 25, the console and forward seating area is the same for both. So this entire piece, this console here, this forward seating lounge is one unit, and it's interchangeable between the two. So what that means is on the 22 Dauntless, you have a full pad up front, which is tremendous. Typically you'd have kind of a cooler up front with a cushion, and that's really no fun to sit on when you're running. That forward cushion is the same between both boats and is tremendously comfortable. So here in the 25, you'll notice not only do you have the sun pad up here, but you have the backs, which are able to flip up, provide you lots of great support when you're running. That's one of the things that you do lose here. I mean, when you take 3 feet out of the hull, you do lose wetted surface, but you also have to be able to find other ways to make compromises. And one of those is, as this bow pad scooched back, you end up losing those 2 seat backs there, which for some people might be a deal breaker, but overall, you still have a large area up front for seating, for laying out, and then you also have the sun pad back here. So one of the differences between the 22 and the 25 is the 22 has flip-up jump seats, and there's no live well here in the center. Where on the 25, you have the flip-up jump seats and you have a live well here in the middle. Now, between these two, you actually do have a little bit more room, probably I would say 4 to 6 inches difference between the 22 and the 25. With this extended casting deck, you do lose a little bit of space here on the 25 compared to the 22. So as you're on the boat, for me, it's slightly noticeable. It might be a deal breaker for some people, but honestly, both are really easy to get around. So here on the 22 Dauntless, this boat is built with the optional RPS. The standard RPS is the same. However, the standard RPS just has an insulated cooler here, where this is a fully plumbed live well. So that's really the difference between the 2 RPS options. You do have the option on the 22 to option the full leaning post that you see over here on the 25. We'll take you through that. And you also do have, I believe, 1 or 2 other seating options. So here on the 22, in the stern area, you have 2 flip-up seats, which are really nice in the fact that they're 1-step units. The 25 is a little bit different with how those are rigged. I'll take you through that in a minute. But the difference and the reason why Whaler did these seats the way they did and the 25 the way they did, the 25 gives you probably another 3 to 4 inches of seating. When you sit in this seat, you do feel a little bit low, but for me, I don't think it's too bad. The one thing I do like about this is the single action of these seats. When you pop that seat back up, you already have the cushion there and you don't have to fuss with anything. So between the 22 and the 25 Dauntless, you have the same freeboard setup. So this height to the floor is the same between this and the 25, as well as the 27. And again, the design, they raised this about 2 inches, but for me, it feels like it's 6 inches. For me, I'll show you here. You can see where my knee lands. It lands below that top edge of the gunnel. So you can lean against this and not feel like you're going to fall out. So up here in the bow area, the 22 is rigged here with the optional motor guide. You can have this pre-rigged with all the electrical, or you can get it pre-rigged with electrical and the motor. So that's up to you as the buyer. We do have standard storage up here, and these guys do flip open as well and give you access to the forward anchor locker. Now, this sun pad, like I said, is quite huge. It's extremely comfortable. So one of the things that we have here, you pull this latch open and it'll release, and all this whole front area, as in the 350, 330s now, 380 outrages, you have all of this storage as a full storage compartment area. You can stick your rods all the way through. So this is a great area for securing stuff during the day, and then when you leave, packing all your rods away so they're stored and locked. So as far as the seating pad goes, for me, I'm about 6 foot and my feet just hit the back edge here. So Mark, who is one of the lead engineers and product development guys, he's 6'4". He can fit on this very easily. This is not a short bench seat. Grab rails with integrated cup holders. You got rod holders up here that both service as rod holders, but also for the optional sunshade. And as you come around, again, like I said, the 2 consoles and forward areas on this boat are exactly the same. So the storage that you have in between all of these is going to be the same. You do have a head down here, which honestly, I can get in and out of pretty easily. Really, if you got kids, that's a fantastic option to have for kids. Adults, it's a little bit more difficult to get down in there, but it's nice to have that option. So the 22 that you see here does have a T-top, and it has canvas on it. You can option the hard top that you see on the 25 on the 22. So we're going to hop over, get on the 25, and take a walk through that. So the 25, like I said, has the same exact helm and forward lounge as the 22. However, with the extension of the hull, you do get a little bit more seating pad area up front here, and you also have the flip-up seat backs. So when you sit down here, you have the ability to rest your back against there, put your feet forward, and actually running at 25, 35 miles an hour, it's quite comfortable to be up there. These guys do fold down. That little latch there. And again, you have the same storage that you do underneath here as you do in the 25. And this boat is outfit with the upgraded leaning post. So you do have the ability here. So you have 2 leaning bolsters that can be flipped up on either side. You do have the armrests, which are movable, so up and down. As far as comfort goes, I do prefer this optional leaning post, but the one thing that it does not allow you to do is where the RPS, you can tilt that seat forward and face people in the back and have a conversation when you're at anchor. You do lose that option here with this leaning post. But for comfort and whatnot, I truly believe this is a better option. So the other thing that the upgraded leaning post does, it gives you the ability to have full tackle storage, as well as storage for your 5-gallon bucket for trash. So on the 25, you do have the ability to have your live well that's built in here in the transom area. So like I said, the 22 being a few feet shorter, you do end up losing space out of this back casting deck. So between the two, let's take a look at the 22 here. You can see the distance that you have here from the transom to this edge, while still like there's tons of room there. On the 22, it is a little bit shorter than you have here on the 25. The 25 does have your seat option here for flip ups. So this is one area that I'm not 100% sold on. The thing that I don't necessarily like about these flip up seats is this cushion is a secondary process to get it attached. But when you do sit here, you can see my knee in relationship to the gunnel. You do sit up probably 3 or 4 inches higher than you would in the 22 with those single action seats. So I guess it really depends on how you like to sit. I mean, I'm always going to be at the helm if I'm the boat owner, but your passengers may prefer to sit up higher than lower. So I'll show you how this action works. So that latch comes forward. That seat back goes back. And then this cushion has magnets actually sewn into them. And positively locates, and then it sits there. So, you know, there's a lot of work to get this out, but once it's out, it's functional. For me, I think a great option for this boat should be the ability for an owner to put both of these seats away. Fold this one down. And if this were my boat, what I would look at doing is having a low backrest made that fit into your rod holders here. So you would have a low backrest that went all the way across the back that has a padded cushion that sits across all of that. So in the times when you have lots of friends and family out, you can utilize this as a 3 or 4 person bench here in the back. As it is right now though, with all of these collapsed down, you've got a tremendous surface for standing, casting, fishing. On both boats, you do have your ladder storage here, as well as access to your batteries here. And then underneath both jump seats as well, you've got storage underneath there and access to the bilge area. So the other option that both of these boats have, like I said, of course, the trolling motors and pre-rig for the trolling motors, but you also have the ability to have power pulls installed on either model. So those are the walkthroughs of the 220 and 250 Dauntless. I know one thing everybody's gonna ask is, on these two boats, what do they run? So with the 300, it's about a 52 mile an hour boat. Does really well. On the 220 over here, you've got the 250. Again, this is about a 52 mile an hour boat. So both get tremendous speed and come up on plane really fast. So that's it. That's my one take walkthrough of the 220 and 250 Dauntless. If you guys have any questions, let me know.